Hello everyone, welcome back to the Caregiver Chef. You are joining me on what is a cold but dry day in Brussels. So the sun is setting and I decided to do a YouTube video. Welcome to new subscribers, welcome back to those who already know me. This is the Caregiver Chef in Brussels. So as you can see, yes, the Yule / Christmas / very quiche deco is up. We have new lights this year, multicolored. But pretty much, I like to deck out the shelf. So there you go. So yeah, good to see you all here. Now, I saw this tag. I've seen a couple of VRs, including Gigi over at Autocrat, and I just had to jump onto the tag. So thank you so much, Dawn Michelle, for this tag, which is Tarot Village 2022. So I'm guessing there was a 2021 edition or something like that, which I clearly missed. But there you go. So I've decided to jump onto the 2022 bandwagon, and yeah, interesting stuff. Now, first and foremost, great archetypes. Just to be clear, I've kind of like tried to find decks for these archetypes, and sometimes they fit, sometimes it's a bit weird. And I've also added on a few of my own additional archetypes for this Tarot Village. So come join me and let's have a bit of fun. So the first archetype that I have, I'm just looking over my notes, is Guide. And yeah, this is an interesting one. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with my very first tarot deck, or the one that I fell in love with first. My very first tarot deck is the RWS. But the one that I really kind of like, cemented with, and it's still kind of like, yeah, it's still gonna be like my North Star, I guess. That's the best way I can put it. And that's going to be the Paulina Tarot. This is by Paulina Cassidy, Paulina Faye. This is a US Games deck. I bought this many years ago now. Can't remember. But this still is kind of like my, in my Tarot Village, this would be my guide. She's my Faye guide. She's like the, this is the deck that basically I've got a lot of memories of reading for others and just spending time with her and getting to know these images. And they are quirky and they are fun and they can be quite dark. I feel this deck is quite shadowy in some ways, but I like it. It's kind of like that deep dark forest type vibe, whimsical, gentle, and yet there's a depth to it. That's the best way I can describe it. I have no idea why that's happened. Ooh, hold on a second. The other way around. Let's get these right way around. But yeah, gentle and just, yeah, it's a deck that just, I don't know. I kind of like, I can't do a video of a collection or a set of archetypes that are quite important to me and then leave out the Paulina Faye. So she'd definitely be my guide, I think. And I still use this deck when I'm really confused. I think this is a deck that I go back to because I know the images so well that sometimes I go back to like, the Hierophant, and the feeling I always got when I was like young and still trying to learn, well, wasn't that young, but back in 2014, 2015 when I was trying to learn tarot, I learned tarot, but then I didn't feel at home with the RWS. And I think at the time, because the choices were really limited, I felt much more at one with this deck, at peace with this deck, and I still do. She really had an important role to play in me feeling comfortable reading with others, especially reading for others. Sorry, and for that reason, yeah, I really do like this deck, and I love the art in it. And I know it's busy. I know people find it too much, but yeah, I mean, what more can I say? Like, she really represents a part of tarot history for me. And so she will still be my, like I just said, my North Star, my guiding kind of like star compass point. And for that reason, yeah, I'm including her in this. So yeah, there was a bit of a, it's been ages, I don't know why, but it's been ages since I've taken out this deck. And she is a little bit worn. You can see here, she's a little bit worn. This is like, she's got like, her edges have grayed a little bit. So this is definitely a deck that's kind of like starting to, I don't know, like, she's got the hallmarks of being used quite a bit. The edges aren't tatty, but they're kind of like, she's softened a bit. That's the best way I can put it. She's softened a little bit. And yeah, and that's that she just feels at home in my hand. You can see it, like, you know, yeah. So yeah, so that's my guide. The next one is the Caregiver. Now this was the tough one because I had like many decks going me, because like I don't know, I have this relationship with some of my decks. So I'm going to pull them out, but this is the ones that I feel are my caregivers. And I've had this deck, the one that I'm about to show you, sitting on my table on and off the last few months. And that is The Forest of Enchantment by Linnea Weatherston, illustrated by Marilee Alwood. I know I've butchered that again. So this is a Llewellyn deck. And it's very well now known. I know that there's an Oracle that's going to be coming out next year. I was about to say this year. Next year. These are the backs. Look at those gorgeous backs. And this is like my hug. This is like, you know, just really getting into this is like the deck that I turn to when I just want a feeling of home, just going home and just settling down. And that's very caregiving for me. It's very loving, and it's gentle, like the Paulina. I love forest decks, you can tell, but this deck just has so much, like, I don't know how, it has all the archetypes. It has so many representations from, you know, this reminds me of books I read when I was a kid, you know, King Arthur and all that kind of stuff. And it just, this deck has this magical, enchanted, well, it is the Forest of Enchantment, enchanted feeling to it. And I feel like, you know, like a little kid that's off, you know, hold on a second, a little kid that's off in the forest and just discovering all these people and witches and wizards and unicorns. And there are some cards in this deck that kind of like my favorite cards all along, you know, throughout. So yeah, this is definitely a deck that I definitely consider my caregiver. And I think that this deck really appeals to the part of me that's, I mean, it appeals to all of me, but it really, like, the child in me, you know. This is kind of like the closest I've ever felt to a inner child deck is this deck. And for this reason, it's my caregiver. Now, there is another deck that I have to also classify in this category because it kind of like does it similar, but a different stage of my life. So I think you will now know what I'm going to pull out. This is the bit where I have to put things back in their boxes, otherwise it's a huge mess at the end. But that is The Everyday Witch. So this is by Deborah Blake, art by Elizabeth Alba. I do know that Deborah Blake is currently making another deck. So I think it's going to be an Oracle. So let's wait for it. So again, it's a Llewellyn deck, so it comes with a comprehensive guidebook and etc. I just really, this is like a fun deck that gives me messages, but just in such a lovely way. These are the backs. I want to get the tin version of this. This is one of the rare times where I really do want the mini version as well. And I just love it. I love the colors. I love the full volume of it. You know, it's a deck that just has that volume for me, of vibrancy. It's a vibrant deck, and I've shared it many times on this channel that this deck reminds me of like when I was a little kid and wanting to be a witch and watching movies and series and reading books and, you know, and being on the adventure. This is like an adventure deck for me. And so, yeah, you know, whilst the Forest of Enchantment is more, I think, magical, Paulina Fay is whimsical, this is that adventure. That's the word I'm going to use. And so this is a caregiver deck for me because, you know, I've described it on this channel before, and I've said it that and some of you may probably relate to this, that if you're someone that has gone through a very, very huge, deep trauma as a child, one where you might lose your memories for a while, or it's just it's a really, like, you know, it's a part of the childhood which needs walking through. This deck really is kind of like the deck that just represents for me, I'm here for you, I'm your friend, and, you know, it's okay, you're not doing this on your own, I'm here too. And it has a fun element because for those of you who've been through what I'm talking about, or, you know, have some understanding, you know, experience of that, we know that we lose our childhood in that moment because we need to become an adult at that moment. It's like this, or mature in a certain way. And I think that this deck has given me that chance to again be playful for that period of my life where it wasn't possible. So hopefully I'm making sense when I say this, but that's why I like this deck so much. And I know it's not a perfect deck. It's been pointed out, age and ethnicity and so forth. And I get it lacks some things. I completely 100% agree. So I'm not saying that these are perfect decks. It's more about what they invoke in me. And I think that that's really important for me to talk about. And so, yeah, this deck has this black cat in it. And you know that I need my fur buddy with me as well all the time. So, yeah, I love the expressions. I love what's going on in all the scenes. And, yeah, this is like my BFF. So, definitely. And that's what I was going to say, that this whole thing is going to vary. Because I had a category called a friend. So, I'm inserting it in now. So, we have the caregiver. But this is the BFF. So in my tarot village, I have a friend, and this one is it. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So now we're already at 3, and you can see it's going to be a long video. But here we go. That's what this is about, right? So yeah. So and that was the Everyday Witch, Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Alba. I do know that I think it's Elizabeth Alba. That the Owl Tarot is also coming out by Llewellyn. So definitely going to pick that one up too. There you go. So then after that, we have a category called the Muse. And now this is where it all goes like, and I know that I think Gigi had in this category the Muse Tarot. And to be quite honest with you, I had that similar feeling. I'm going to pick, to shake it up a little bit, I'm going to pull out the Lioness Tarot, Oracle Tarot. Now this is an indie deck by, I just want to get the name right, Alejandro Leon. And it's created in Oakland, California. This is an indie deck, and I find this deck to be just funny. It's a funny deck. It makes me laugh. So this is the category which I'm going to call the Muse. And yeah, I just find this deck to, and these are the backs. I mean, I had to buy the deck just for the backs, but I just love them because they're fun and they make me laugh, and I just love the collages in them. I do know that the Telesma Tarot also has this kind of like quirkiness. I like the vibe of this because it's very much more towards the cosmos and the universe. And just, it makes me smile. It's just got this kookiness to it, which makes me laugh. I love the Fool card in this. Yeah, it's a very fierce deck, I find. Fierce, feisty, funny. She takes me out of my comfort zone of maybe a heaviness or something like this. This deck just makes me go like, go for it, try it, do it. You know, like, what are you waiting for? And she's inspiring, definitely inspiring. So this is the Muse Tarot, and I'm going to be not the Muse Tarot, sorry. This is the Muse category, and this is the Lioness Tarot Oracle. And yeah, a bit of a slip of the tongue because the Muse Tarot, and I've got it out here, but the Muse Tarot fills a different function. I might put it into this video. Let's see, because I've got so many decks right now out, so that's why I'm a bit like, this is going to be interesting. So yeah, this is an indie deck, and very glad that I got this. I also like the oracle that goes with this, which is the Vision of the Muse. Yeah. Okay. So after that we have it's called, I just want to check here. What's it called? The Counselor. Okay, the Counselor. So I'm guessing this is more like the High Priestess category. This is a tough one. And I've got 2 decks, and I think that they both equally fall into this category. So it's a tough one. I think I'm going to go with, it's a bit weird. Yeah, I'm going to go with, trust my instinct, Tower of the She. Sorry, there was a bit of a war going on there. Tower of the She. And that is because when I need a deck that's going to give me, sometimes I don't really, you know, it just shows me my blind spots. And this deck does it so well. And I have to include her. She's in my top 10 as well. And that's why she was like, what about me? Now I still need to buy a backup copy because then I'm going to chop the rest off as well and just have the image in the middle. This is my Schiffer deck, very shiny, very glossy. I love it actually. These are the glyphs at the back. I really love this deck. Very powerful. There is a very raw energy that comes out of this deck, and she has that counselor position, because I feel that she shows me my hidden self. The part of me that's just raw energy, she brings that out. I love the interplay between the Fae and the Earth, the elements, you know, all the elements here, air and fire. It's a very fiery deck for me. I'm a Sagittarius moon, and I can really feel like my fire fires up when it sees this deck. But you know, all the elements are very well done here. Also the, you know, the water, as you can see. It's just a great deck. This is the High Priestess, which I love in this deck. But just, it's by Emily Carding, and Emily Carding has also done poems. And I know that she's also an actress and does thespian plays. So, you know, the Tower of the She is a really representation, I think, of the energy that Emily Carding channels in creating this deck. And I love it because it's very genuine. I feel like it's a very genuine, raw energy that I'm feeling and tapping into here. And it's just a gorgeous deck. I love how the glyph appears in this deck. You know, you'll always find it. It's always there. I say that, I'm trying to look for it in this one now. Can't see it so readily right now. Hold on a second. Let me find it in another one. There it is there, the pool. And there you see it. It's in his head. It's a deck that really makes me have to look several times. And that's why I like it as the counselor, because for me, the counselor, one of the roles of a counselor is to make me think again, or just really question, or to also affirm. A counselor also affirms. And so, yeah, it's an interesting deck, definitely. Okay, so the other one that I wanted to show, I'll find a way for her to appear, because she needs to appear too, actually. But yeah, that's the Tower of the She by Emily Carding, published by Schiffer. Okay, so the one after that, bear with me, I do need to close the box, otherwise I'm going to be here forever closing all. The one after that is going to be the category of the Elder. Interesting. So the Elder for me is more, there is a worldliness to it. There's a worldliness, but also it's a bit strange. I don't know. Hold on a second. So we have the Elder, then we have a study deck, and then we have the Outsider. I don't know if this is an Elder. I need to rephrase this. This is the Village. I'm going to call it that instead. This is the, and the Elder can be something else for me, but this is, I want to bring this deck in because it's a different archetype. This is the body of the Village. This is the corporal element. And I want to include the deck because a Tower Village to me doesn't exist without the corporal element. And when I was thinking of this video, I was like, I can't leave out this deck that's in my mind. I can't. She has to come in somewhere. And I realized she has to come in somewhere because she plays a very integral role in tarot, full stop, for me. That's the Herbcrafter's Tarot. For me, this deck is just, there's wisdom, but there's also the fact that because the flora, the herbs themselves, there's something about them, because they're teaching me where I need to look at, or they're giving me the guidance or the message of where to go or what to do. It's a different feeling. The earth is directly speaking to me, and that for me is very special. And I love the scenes. I love the fact that this is such a beautiful path-working deck, and I can go straight into the scene. So I don't know how else to put this, but it needs to be in the Tower Village, and it's not really an Elder position for me. It's more kind of like, this is the village that I'm stepping into. This is elements of what I'm going to experience. This is this is the embodiment of my tarot village. And maybe it needs to be that, you know, it needs to have the architect. This is the architect for me, which is a very strange one, right? That's where I need to bring it in, as the architect. And I love this deck. I love the guidebook, which is, I need to get the name right. It's Letitia Guthrie, yeah. An artwork by Joanna Powell Colbert, who also did the Gaian Tarot. And I know so many people who first worked with the Gaian Tarot, and then this is like the sister deck that comes out later. So this is like the second one. And because I picked this up first, this is the one that I'm bonded to more. So when I was trying to work with the Gaian Tarot, it only worked when I took this deck out as well. It was just very strange. So anyway, the Herb Crafters has to be in there because this is my tarot village. This is the architect. And she needs to be in here. So there we go. I mean, this deck just, it holds kind of like that picture perfect, or that perfection of like, oh yeah, you know, like I would want my tarot village to have these healing hands and this table full of goodness and you know, thinking about things and having all my elements around me while I'm writing. And one of my favorite cards ever, absolutely, the Three of Cups in this lemon balm. I mean, this just, like, I remember when I pulled this card once, and it reminded me of like my little tea parties on my own, you know, when I was playing. And this deck also was with me when I was going through, as some of you know, in early 2021, I lost someone and I was in grief. And this deck was just like, it just allowed me, you know, just to process it, basically. Absolutely gorgeous, stunning images, stunning artwork. And yeah, and this is my tarot village, right? So so this is the architect. So I'm not sure how that counts, but there you go. Hopefully Dawn Michelle is not going, oh, she's gone and made up her own categories on this one. Well, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so the one after that is the study deck, the teacher. So, you know, when I was pulling them all out, and then I just saw this and I thought, it has to come back in. I've been missing her. I'm looking forward to working with her again. It has to be my Dream Keepers Tarot by Liz Houston. I love this deck. I love this deck. I love this deck. It is one of my favorite decks. Nancy over at Paper Moon Tarot has sent me also the indie version. I love it that much. I have two copies. I have the mass market and the indie version. I worked with this in January was it January of this year? Yeah, January. Oh my God, I'm losing time here. January of this year. I love this deck. The guidebook is just so good. Liz Houston did a really phenomenal job. I like the work that's been put in. I like the way that the people are represented. I do understand it needs diversity. I do take that into account. Definitely could have happened in this deck. You know, so there are some learnings here, but overall, the way that this deck has been designed, the sentiment of the deck and what it's aiming for is just phenomenal. I love that Queen of Pentacles. This looks nothing like my mother, but my mother is the Queen of Pentacles as the Capricorn, and the energy is so spot on. It's, yeah, definitely. So I really just love this deck. Page of Wands. Yeah, just, yeah, there's something about this. I'm a Nine of Cups girl kind of thing, because I'm a Virgo rising. So Nine of Cups means, sorry, not Nine of Cups, sorry, Nine of Pentacles. Nine, as the Scorpio, this is more of a Cancer card, actually. I was going to find, let me find the Nine of Cups. This is the Ten of Pentacles. I like that Nine of Cups, though, actually, as well. She reminded me of the Nine of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles, there's a Virgo, that's my decan, actually, in my Virgo rising. Beautiful, right? Just so beautiful. Three of Wands. This is one of my favorite cards out of this deck. I mean, she's so majestic, looking out at her lands and her dominion, off on the journey, and just, she knows where she's going. I just love this deck. Here's the Nine of Pentacles in this deck. I mean, just look at this. I love the colors that's been used. I love how Liz Houston made the effort with the colors, just the deck for me stands out. I know that not everybody loves it, but I love it. I love the Chariot in this deck. Look at that. Breaking out of the cosmos. Talk about a Cancer card. And there's the Tower. Split energy down the middle. So anyway, yeah. So hopefully you were able to follow along in that. But that's really my teacher deck. This is a great teacher, this deck. And again, this would appear in my top 10 as well. You know, if I did another if only you could keep 10 video, which really stressed me out last year. I'm not doing that again. But there you go. So yeah, had a lot of fun there. Next one is the Outsider. Now, this is a bit of a strange one. I'm going to pull as my Outsider deck, but it has to come in there. No, it's not this one, sorry. That's going to play another role. My Outsider deck has got to be the Darkwood Tarot. I'm really falling in love with this deck. I have to say, she is Disney-esque, but she's a strange one. Now, these are the backs. So this is by Sasha Graham, artwork by Abigail Larson. I really love this deck. I want to get the Horror Tarot as well. I don't like the name of that deck. I'm like, it doesn't suit that deck, but I do like the deck itself, the look of that deck. But I love the Darkwood Tarot. I think it's a great deck. I know it's Disney-esque, but I really still like it. I don't know how to put it. I use this deck as not just as a muse, but also kind of like, she sits on my desk quite a lot, actually. She's definitely a desk deck for me. And I just like her. I love the embodiment of I love this, you know, this Queen of Wands. My Sag Moon loves her as well. But yeah, I really like it. I like the way that the borders are there, but they don't quite chop off the card. There's something that gothic vibe, which I enjoy in this deck. And I know that it's fairy tale, but I still love her. I love the way that the bodies are outlined in this deck and how angular they are. Very angular. Yeah. There's something about this deck and the way it depicts that forest, which I find very cool and fun. And it's not scary, you know. I mean, I've said to many people, like, I don't find this deck very shadowy. You know, it's got some shadow to it, yes, but it's more, you know, it's just another tarot deck for me. But that's the way I roll anyway. So yes, that's the Darkwood Tarot, and I'm going to bring that one as an outlier. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I have a category. Don't know how Dawn Michelle feels about this. Hold on a moment. So here you go, Dawn Michelle. I'm adding a bit more now. So we've already had the Friend, which was the Everyday Witch. That was already another addition going on there. I'm going to add in a category, and my category is called the Hag. Sorry, Dawn Michelle, it had to come in. The Hag, because I love that energy. I love it. And I had to bring her out. It's the Hush Tarot by Jeremy Hush. I think this is a great Hag deck. I find this to be a true Scorpio deck because it is death, and it is the morbid, melancholy, miserable death that death is. It's the death that we get with the Knight of Cups. That horse. Yeah. You know, look at the Knight of Cups and look at the Death card and you'll see it there. I love this deck. And these are the backs. And I've got mine edged in this vintage gold kind of thing. I don't know if I just used a marker that had gold on it. There you go. So I love this deck because it's just so... I use it more intuitive. I don't really use it with its, you know, if this is the Queen and the Queen of Cups. I just use it more as what does it draw from me. I love the thorns. I love the way that the branches are done. I love the depth of color. I love the very... it's Victorian, slightly Edwardian actually in its vibe. I love these blues and browns together. I love the darkness in it actually. I love its... You know, a lot of people like the Chicoli Tarot, which I'm starting to bond with. But for me, this is like my my shadowy inner self coming out, and I love it. And I call it the hag or the crone, but I think of this more as the hag. Yeah, it's a deep, it's just, oh, the mass, the roles we play, and what the animals are showing us. And I just realized, yeah, we've got new rules on nudity and YouTube, so I'm gonna have to now start putting labels across. So sorry, I've got to catch up on that stuff. But yeah, I just like this deck because of there's a depth, and I don't really use it as always corresponding with the tarot keys, and I think that's fine. This deck breaks out of jail for me. It's like out of jail feeling. It's out of the box. It does its own thing, and I like that because I think the hag's wisdom takes her out of, like, I'm thinking 400-year-old woman who's still in that forest with her potions, with her know-how, with many years of wisdom, seeing people come and go, seeing things happen, seeing the land change in front of her, season after season, animals coming and going, many lives happening, and yet she's still there, you know, she's still there to consult and to talk to, but, you know, just to know that she embodies all of magic. So you also see the shadow of her as well. And I really love that for that reason. I love that archetype. Yeah, I really like the archetype of the hag. Okay, so I have a deck here, and the only category I can put it in is the magician. In my tarot village, there's a magician. There's a trickster. I love that. I love tricksters. And I had to bring in the Foraxa. For me, she's the wishing deck. It's like the wishing well. It's the creative force. It's the manifestation force. And I had to bring her in my village. So the Foraxa comes in as my magician slash, yeah, the wish. And yeah, this, you know, there had to be an MJ Cullinan deck in this set. I mean, come on. We know there had to be. That Crow or the Foraxa were definitely going to be there. So I picked the Foraxa for this one. And yeah, I have to have her here. This is the deck that tells me, what do you want to manifest? Tell me what you want. The magician that appears. As above, so below. And I just love this deck. I just love her. She's, you know, like I said, the wishing well, and there's the waters coming through right at the bottom of the well. I just love this deck so much. And I just, again, I couldn't have a collection, especially something like the Tarot Village, without her here. She really is my fae deck, along with the Paulina. They're my faes. And they take me off into their dreams of enchantment and magic. But yeah, I find this deck to be so powerful. Yeah, there is a slight elder energy here, definitely. I know we have the elder, but I find that this is what I came up with. I have no idea where I'm at in the number of decks, by the way. It's quite funny. But I think this is the end. I'm just looking around. Yeah, we're at the end. Just making sure. Yeah, this is all of them. So hopefully you've enjoyed me on this journey with me as I look at kind of like my tarot village. And, you know, and there's all kind, oh, they're slipping off, hold on a second. And there's, you know, and there's a little bit of a tweak here, but I think that's okay. I'm going to look at that night. So I'm going to end on this. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for just following me on my little tour. And I will be back. I'm also doing a collab with Adakrat, Gigi over Adakrat for Yule. So you'll see those videos coming up soon. That'll be a lot of fun. Anyone can join in. It's just, you know, just a bit of fun as we go up to the solstice, winter solstice here over the northern hemisphere. Of course, we have the summer solstice coming up as well. Oh, look at that, the world. Oh, look at, just Yeah, so magical. So yeah, so thank you for joining me today, and I will hope to see you all next week and see you soon. Take care now. Bye.